Hey guys, good evening. I am working on the Ouranosaurus more today. As you can see, I was working on it a bit earlier. What I'm doing right now is kind of picking up from where we left off last week, not yesterday. I'm just adding more and more detail. I think we're pretty close to done with this. It's just it needs a little bit more variation and stuff, and that's kind of what I'm working on right now. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm going through and adding just a little bit of like scale detail just around some of the spots that we have on the sides and stuff. And I think I'm gonna do that to a good portion of the texture. Like I really like the way that this is starting to feel. You can see the areas that I've done it on, the areas that I haven't. I'm not gonna do like, it's not gonna be like super even. Like I want areas to be there's some areas that won't have it, but I'm just kind of like randomly selecting little spots to add just a little bit of variety. Picking stuff here and there, and then later on, so it depends on how far we get today, but I don't think this will take too long, but depending on how far we get, I'm gonna play around with a female variant of this skin. I have some ideas for it, but we'll kind of play around and see what we can come up with. But that's the plan, and yeah, been kind of a long day. So I'm happy to just kind of hang out and chill and do some scale textures. And I hope you guys will find it interesting. Yeah, so it's a very small detail, but I think overall it'll have an impact on the way it looks. I think it looks pretty cool. I personally like when colorations and patterns on skin kind of pick up on the underlying scale texture. It doesn't have to be too much, but like if you look at iguanas, or like especially like land iguanas, a lot of the times they'll have like darker tops of their scales, and in between the scale will be lighter, sometimes even like a bright color like orange or something. Even green iguanas will have that. So I always like when the pattern is broken up with some of that detail, because it's not always if you were to just look at the surface of the animal like this, like a diffuse color, like diffuse with no light at all, sometimes it's hard to pick up on the skin, the surface quality of the skin. I think that it's nice when you're able to hint at a bit of the surface quality just in pure color without having to see the texture or the roughness or anything. Torvosaurus, hi. And Wizard, hi. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Hope you guys are having a good evening, or maybe it's not evening where you are. It's evening for me. Had a full day of work and then made a quick dinner And now I'm here. So that little part right there, I don't know if I like that. So I'm going to come back in with a brush and take that out. I'm being kind of picky, you know. And it's not like, this is one of those things that's kind of hard to quantify to people. It's kind of just going by feel. Like it's in like kind of intuition based. Like there's no real rhyme or reason to this. It's just like, does that shape complement what's going on? Is it enough? Is it too much? And then just kind of judging based off of what I feel like looks good. And just trying to be confident with my decision and moving forward. I think something like this is probably if I were a much younger artist, you know, but if I were to like go back in time to my younger self, something like this would probably be much harder for me because I'd be second guessing what I'm doing, you know. I'd be trying to like establish some sort of rule set to making these choices where I'm making them. But now I think I've done textures like this enough that it's like I kind of just trust my instinct on where it should be, stuff like this should be placed, or where it should be, where it should not be, where it should be stronger, stuff like that. I'm just gonna like pepper this in here. I think that looks really cool. Like little moments like this where it kind of like goes over into the next color and it really contrasts with that. I think that looks really nice. Like all this stuff happening inside here looks really cool to me. Still want to maintain the structure of the skin so it looks like the concept, of course, but we're adding information. Yeah. So I hope everyone has been having a good week. For me, it's been going okay. Nothing horrible and nothing super great either. Just an average week, I suppose. I did, I think I might have talked about it a little bit earlier, but I've really been enjoying playing Night Rain with my friends. I'm a huge Soulsborne fan. I love those games. I played pretty much all of them except for I didn't play Sekiro. I don't know if you would consider that a Soulsborne game, but I didn't play Sekiro and I didn't play Dark Souls 2. But everything else I have played. And yeah, it's been a really fun time. It's kind of a strange game. I don't think that I was really hopeful for it or like excited about it when I first heard about it. But it's been really fun. Kind of like a battle royale mixed with, of course, like the Soulsborne sort of combat mixed with kind of I guess you call it roguelite elements. Roguelike or roguelite? Roguelike. Or roguelite. I can't remember. I don't remember what the actual pronunciation of it is. Roguelike. I think that's right. Anyway. Like, I hear two different things when I hear people say it. So I don't know. But anyway, there's random, like, drops. You fight bosses and you get random drops that change your attributes and stuff. And you might have good ones, you might get bad ones. And there's like good and bad events that happen during the course of your like run. So it can be really chaotic. There's definitely a sense of urgency in that game. You're pressed for time because you're fighting the environment. You know, you're fighting the enemies and then you're also fighting the environment because there's this deadly sort of rain that closes in on the map. And it forces you into tighter and tighter like circles. So you can get really screwed by getting caught out in the rain, or like you like linger too long and you get cut off from your team, or like you're in the middle of fighting a boss and you didn't like pay attention and now the rain's coming in, so you have to really rush to kill the boss, or else you're gonna like lose out on all the souls that it drops and you can't upgrade. It's been pretty challenging because like they have made some tweaks. I think everyone kind of knows like the reputation that Soulsborne games have with their combat and like how kind of harsh it can be. They're sort of famous for making you die a lot, right? And this game definitely does not hold back. I think they simplify some stuff because of the multiplayer. Like there's some things that have changed with the bosses, but a lot of it is what I remember from some of the bosses are older bosses that come from different games. So some of it is still what I remember from those bosses before. And then there's newer bosses that are just crazy. Because I think they're accounting for the fact that people are working in teams. So all of the crazy attacks that the bosses used to do just for like a single player game, they're now doing like trying to compensate for multiple people in a run. And some of the bosses that I've seen are crazy. But we've been able to manage so far. I mean, we've had lots and lots of attempts. Yeah, really enjoying that game over the past couple of weeks. MBB Dog. I hope I'm saying your name right. Great week. Looking great as well. Love watching your streams on this. Thanks a lot. Pixie, love the blue and the dithering. Makes it look natural. Thank you. Definitely trying to make it look as natural as I can. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the streams. If you are, maybe this is your first time, or maybe you've seen them before but just haven't commented. Either way, happy to share my process. Hope you guys are excited for the game. So yeah, it's just adding a little bit of kind of texture, I think, to the mark making, which is what I like. As I was saying before, like, I think something that is, when you look at a texture on a model, I think you can kind of tell like who's newer at texturing and who isn't, based on the way edges are treated. It's the same kind of thing that it kind of happens in painting as well. Like when you, I used to teach and mentor interns for my job as an illustrator. And one of the most common things that I saw with interns coming in from colleges is that they were very afraid of hard edges on things. Like they were constantly trying to blend things, to render. So they would use really soft brushes, and they would use them so much that just everything looked really fuzzy and like pillowy and like just blurry. So one of the things that I think it kind of separates a good texture from like just okay one is just paying attention to the edge quality of marks. Previously, like if you were looking at this, I think there's starting to be a nice combination of those like fuzzy edges. Fuzzy edges aren't bad, soft edges aren't bad. It's just they need to be accompanied by harder, more pronounced edges. So that's kind of what I'm going back in and trying to incorporate here. Something a little bit more harsh, something that indicates the skin texture, describes the skin texture more, and just variety. Variety, when you're trying to make something look natural, variety is your best friend. Things in nature are never perfect. There's always some sort of, if you're looking at some creature with stripes, their stripes probably shouldn't be perfectly like straight edged. They should have a little bit of wiggle. There should be a little bit of tearing. Maybe there's some portions of the stripe fuzz out and come back in. That sort of thing helps to ground it a little bit more. It introduces that imperfection that we need. Even if one important lesson that I learned when I was going to school, I learned this from one of my anatomy instructors, but he gave an example of sort of picking and choosing traits from life. So the example that he gave was, imagine, there's like an iguana, right? We all know that iguanas have those kind of spines on their back. He was talking about one time when he was sketching an iguana at a zoo. He noticed that the spines were very perfect. Like it was like the picture perfect iguana. Like their spines had this gradual height difference. They were all lined up. They were all perfectly shaped. Sometimes nature does do that. It can do like very perfect looking, picturesque, like idealized looking stuff. But the thing that he said is like, when he drew it, he was copying the reference. He was drawing the reference because he was looking at the iguana. But he was saying that when he looked at it on the page, that it just seemed boring. It seemed wrong, I think we expect to see imperfection in nature, and when we don't see it, when we see just perfection, it starts to look unnatural. So it's kind of, he said that even though what he was seeing was very perfect, he decided to introduce a little bit of imperfection into the drawing he was doing. And it ended up looking much better. So it's kind of a decision-making thing. I think it's cool that as an artist you can kind of see something that might be maybe a little bit too tame or maybe boring, and kind of enhance it, pop the variety a bit more. Because it is our job to like accurately represent stuff, especially if you're doing like something from life, but it's also our job to make things look more interesting, make decisions that make things look very aesthetic and catch your eye, So I always think about, there was another time when I saw this firsthand, and it breaks a compositional rule in landscape painting. We were driving back from a convention, my friends and I. We were driving through Utah, I believe. I'm going to draw this because I think it helps to draw stuff. And I was looking out over, we stopped at a gas station, and in Utah there's these big like flat like plateau. I can't remember where exactly we were, but it was just like a very flat rock shapes in the distance. So if you imagine the scene, there was like these, they're called mesas, the geological term for it. They're very flat, and these edges here are very rocky. There was something like this, but then what I saw that was super weird, it looked very, very weird as compositionally, is I saw a cloud that was like an oval shape, and then I saw another cloud that was an oval shape, and I saw another cloud that was an oval shape. They looked like this. Like, it was really strange. So I thought to myself, like, I mean, if I were to paint this, if I were to take a picture of this or sit down and paint this landscape, this would look wrong. It would look really strange. Because it's just boring, like compositionally, like you have the same shape repeated 3 times and it gradually gets smaller, like in the perfect increments going into the distance. So as an artist, even though you're seeing this in reality, you want to do something else, like make a compositional decision that, you make this a different shape. You get rid of one. You make it different. This one also different and smaller. Or maybe you overlap them or something. But yeah, that was another moment where I thought, like, okay, that's part of this whole thing is, making good decisions, even though what you are seeing might lead you to make like I would say kind of a boring, give you a boring result. It's kind of weird though, because you're like, it's a cloud formation, and you're calling this natural phenomenon boring. But I think, when you're trying to convert that into a painting or something that's going to be hung on a wall or in a video game or something like that, you're trying to make it as interesting as possible. But yeah, little random lessons that happen while learning how to do all of this craziness. It's also the happy accident thing too, right? The Bob Ross thing is like, I'm looking for happy accidents here. Like I'm not really going through this with any rhyme or reason. I'm just kind of wiggling my brush over the top of these shapes, and I'm looking for stuff that's cool. If I get something that looks cool, then that's great. I keep it. If not, I get rid of it. And I have no idea what's going to pop up when I put my brush down, because I don't really know what the scale textures looks like underneath just now, because I'm not seeing it. So whatever pops up is just kind of what I'm working with. Working back and forth there. So this spot right here, I don't think I ever like addressed. So I need to go back in and like actually finalize what's happening on these legs. This is my normal layer. So come back here. I just want the sort of outermost parts of the leg to be darker and kind of break away as it wraps around the leg, like on the sides of the leg. I want it to kind of break apart, and then it'll fade into the other two tones of color that we have here. The other hues. I should have done a better job of layering this up, so I'm gonna have to backtrack just a little bit, but we would have had to do it anyway, so do it while we're here. Further down, so what do we got? This color. We'll keep the like pads of the feet lighter. Let's have okay. Let's make it kind of random there. This color. There's another one under here. Yeah. Just turning this stuff on and off to see what exactly is doing what. So that whole thing is there. It's not in that mask. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. I see what's happening. It's not actually this color that's controlling the scale speckliness. It's the layer above it. So that's a different way of handling that. Actually, I've been thinking about how I might have been able to do this differently. I'm not sure if I've arrived at like a totally optimal way of doing it. I think either way there would have been a little bit of waste. I'm talking about, when I talk about like waste, what I mean is like my layer stack. So when I want to kind of control how my layers are being built up, and I want to try and do things in the most efficient way possible, because like reusing masks whenever possible, or like trying to do things in just in as few layers as I can, because this can get pretty heavy, just like anything, like a Photoshop painting. If you have like hundreds of layers, it'll start to bog down the computer. My computer's okay. Like it can deal with quite a bit, but I still want to be mindful of it. Well, whatever it's doing, we'll just keep it on there for now. Oh, I'm erasing. I need a brush. Here we go. Something about this color is really cool to me. It's like I just like how it mixes in here, because it's got we got this like warm, kind of deeper reddish brown, and then it transitions into the kind of cooler grayish color here, and then finally into the darker black. I think it has just a nice like color interaction. You know what kind of surprises me? I've been noticing lately, talking about color interaction. I don't know if any of you guys collect or like keep up with any action figures stuff. Um, but the like Jurassic World action figures, the more recent ones, actually have some really cool color combinations happening. Like the color palettes they're selecting for the dinos. I'm actually kind of a fan of, surprisingly. I don't really agree with like the anatomy of the sculpts that they're doing on their figures, but the colors that they're picking are really cool. I saw a few of them at the grocery store supermarket place that I go to grab all our groceries. I always like to stop by the toy section because I'm still just a big kid anyway. But they had some there. Yeah, I was really surprised. Whoever is making those decisions at, I think Mattel is the one who's doing that now. They're doing a pretty good job. The selections that they're doing for the dinos too are pretty interesting. They're I mean, of course they have the like mainstays of Jurassic Park, but they're actually pulling in some kind of obscure species into their like toy lines. It's just pretty impressive. Like I think one of the dinos that I saw was Regaliceratops. They had that guy on the shelf. There's some other ankylosaurid, and then some sort of Spinosaurid. Not Spinosaurus, but like it was like Baryonyx or Irritator or something like that. I think if I were to collect any of those though, I'd probably just go for like the Hammond collection stuff. I feel like the Hammond collection stuff could have been pushed a lot more though. Because some of it still feels kind of cartoony and like a little bit like, I don't know what the word would be. It's kind of stylized looking, you know, kind of like kid friendly esque stuff. Whereas I would have, if like when I hear the word, you know, Hammond collection, it feels very much like it's supposed to be like the ultimate like collector's version of these dinosaur figures. And if that's the case, then I would have liked to see like a lot more screen accuracy and like articulation and stuff. Especially if you're going to market towards collectors, I think that's something I would have liked to see. Because I don't really have any like Jurassic Park figures aside from like the very first ones I got, like from Kenner from the originals trilogy. And then I have a Dimetrodon from my friend Justin, which is really cool. And then I have two raptors from, oh man, I can't remember where they are or who they're from, but they're really cool. I would say they're probably the best raptor figures that I've seen in a long time. Just turn on the light really quick and see how things are looking. Make sure everything's good on stream. I'm going to add a little bit more kind of transitioning here. So I feel like this part is a little bit still blurry. Use a little bit of sharpening. And then this is kind of like a bald patch there, I guess. Like there's just absent marks there. So I want to make sure there's something, even if it's just little speckles or just like some sort of transitioning thing. So that way it just doesn't abruptly stop. This area here needs a little bit of addressing too. Turn off this, turn off that. Yeah, I think it just needs a, just more consistency is what it needs. Like it just needs to be filled in more. I think that's because this area is actually this is that scale layer. Yeah, that's the scale layer that I'm had on there. So I need to fill that in more. So it just has a little bit more presence to it because the lighter brown color is like showing through, and it's giving these kind of weird light patches between the scales that I don't really like. Especially in the darker areas, because it starts to call attention to those spots, and I want to be very controlled about where I let contrast happen, because it's gonna, any amount of like major contrasty markings on here is just gonna draw your eye straight to it. Especially if it's really dark. If it's very dark against very light stuff, it's gonna have that effect. Don't want that. What am I doing? Yeah, okay. Just gotta make sure that I'm painting the right color every so often. It's like it's happening all up in here. You can see it kind of feels like right here. You can see that's kind of like chalky. I want to get rid of that stuff. I only want the edges of the markings to be broken up with the scale parts, not the other areas. They should be solid. Let's see. So like all this stuff. This will probably also help me with the idea that I have for the female markings, because I'm planning to have more of the like brown tones like show through, rather than the very bold like black and the blue. So those will kind of go away. This, what about this? This. What is controlling this? This is actually a part of a mask. Yeah. Okay, so we'll deal with that in a secondary pass. I think the better option, even though it's a little bit, I'm not totally satisfied with the like optimization of it, is just to duplicate the layer, the like underlying layer. Or like, yeah, duplicate the layer that I want to have the scales for, and then just use that as its own mask. Because like trying to nest the mask for the scales into the existing mask for the marks themselves is a little bit just doesn't work out. It's a little bit too complicated. I'd rather add a layer, even though it's adding a layer to the stack. I'd rather do that and have more control than like try to keep it stacked within the mask and have like weird effects happen because of it. Until I come up with a better idea, I think that's the way I'm gonna do it. Yeah, that stuff I don't like. It feels a lot better on the main body. I still gotta do all of this here. Fill all of this in and only keep the edges here that I want. Something like that. All of this stuff. Down the middle. Probably around the eyes and things too, but let's see how it starts to come together here. Get that. Okay. That's the kind of scaly portion of that. I think I'm going to group these together because I can turn the group on and off at the same time. That's good. I'm gonna actually color code it to whatever color. Just do it red. Oh, I need to do it to the whole group. There we go. This is okay. That's that layer. That's this one. I'm gonna group these two. Color code this one. Okay. This is the super dark black here. And then we have the blue. Okay. So I like the way this area looks. It needs a little bit more like speckly texture in there, but it looks better. One thing I'm wondering, because I was contemplating trying to pull off some sort of effect on the belly, because the belly feels very flat. It's just one color. But I don't know if our color system allows for more variation in that space, you know. I'll have to check on that. I don't want to make changes and make something that's not actually achievable in the game. Yeah, I'll check on that later. There's an overspill here in the mouth I don't need. That away. Okay. I think I got most of this covered. Oh, I need to do the legs and arms really quick. There's still some parts in there that I need to clean up then, because I can see it on the inside. There's a little too much going on in there. It needs to be simplified. Okay. Okay, that's better. And we'll do the same thing over here to the... We did a little bit, but I needed a little bit more. Just to kind of blend stuff in here. Okay. This is the super dark color. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna duplicate this. Then I'm gonna fill this with black. We'll copy the mask from here, this fill layer. And we'll paste it in here. Paste. And it's gonna look super gross. But I'm gonna add a paint. And then we're gonna mask everything out, and then we'll just bring out what we need. Do it with the polyfill. Everything should be black now. Just make sure. Yep. And then we'll come back with the eraser. On this paint layer. I'm going to be looking for just the areas around these dark spots. I'm going to go a little bit stronger there, just to emphasize the scales on the back of the neck, because I think that they look cool. And this area should be pretty dark anyway, so. It's really interesting how I don't know how maybe other people perceive it, but this dark value here, this dark color, feels like almost it's like it got a little reddish tone to it. It's warmer than this darker black color that I'm adding here. And this isn't this. I don't think this is actually 100% black. It's still got a color to it. It's very dark, of course, but I think it feels to me like it's much cooler than that other color just below it. Which feels nice. I like the combination. Add a little bit of speckles. You might hear my dog go a little bit crazy because I think it's food time. She hears rustling in the kitchen, activity in the kitchen. So it's kind of like a trail off effect. So I want these spots to gradually kind of dissipate into the other spots. So I'm kind of indicating that here. Just with the centers of these other spots, we'll get a little bit of this darker color. And then gradually they'll just kind of drift off. The shoulder is going to get some more though, because I think it's also got some pretty big scales here, and I want to just kind of pop those. I think they look cool. I think that's pretty much all of it. There's not a lot of this darker color. It's like super dark black color. My dog wants attention down here. She's like, she does this thing where she'll like want me to pick her up, but then I'll go to pick her up and then she won't let me. She's like changes her mind. She's super tiny. So there's been a couple of times where I've actually been able to have her on my desk because she fits in this little space in front of me. As long as she stays still and just like kind of hangs out, she's fine. But she's really curious about everything, so sometimes she'll want to go after stuff on my desk, and there's just too much stuff she can chomp on up here that's would be bad for my job. Okay, so these are the scales. So these two layers need to be paired together, and we will put those in a folder. And we'll color code this one too. And these are paired together, but they're fine the way they are right there, I think. What else? What do we gotta do? What do we gotta do? We could add a little bit of, so the keratin section, where is it? Right here. Keratin part doesn't change color. We do not allow people to change the keratin color. I don't believe we do. So one thing that we can do is just add a little bit of extra variation in the keratin, so that way it's not just one flat color. But basically, like, the thing I don't like in textures is just having very flat, consistent colors, especially if you're doing something naturalistic. If this were like, I don't know, like a cel-shaded dinosaur game, or you see those like what do they call it, like low poly sort of looking games, we could probably use some like flat colors like this, but it just feels very fake, I guess is the word. So I'm gonna add just a bit of variation here because it doesn't change color, and I think I probably can. I may be mistaken, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Let's duplicate the layer. And what I'm gonna do here, what do I want to do? I want to let's make a anchor point for this keratin mask. I want to add some like lighter parts of this. I want to play with the color. So I don't know why that roughness is on. Did I adjust the roughness? Okay, that's fine. How do I do this again? I think I have to add it to this section. I want to add a filter. I want to add a gradient map. You can type it in. Gradients. Oh, is this controlling opacity? I don't know. That's not the gradient I want. That's kind of cool though. it made the keratin disappear, but I could see how that could be useful in other applications. Like on a wing or something, you could punch holes into it. Gradients, curve, gradients. It's just a normal gradient, color gradient. Gradient. There we go. That's what I want. And then I want to just add a bunch of, not a bunch, we're only allowed 3, but so I'm going to use this as the base color that was there already. Actually, I want that in here. That's the base color that was there already. I want to do something that's a little bit darker. for that. And then I'll do something that is a little bit lighter. And then we'll take the saturation down. So I have three tones. And then I need a texture because I need something that's going to drive the color variation. And I want something that has a nice range of values. So something that has lots of grays, lots of white, lots of black, in like fairly even amounts. If I go too contrasty, it's just going to favor one color over the other. So possibly this one. Fractal sum's always useful. Let's see where I put this. This needs to go here. Where does it need to go? It needs to go here, I think. It's been a while since I set this up. I think that's right. Look at the base color. Yeah, that's where it needs to go. So the values in that map are controlling where the colors of the that I just put in here go. But I need to control. We're gonna do triplanar. And we're gonna decrease the tiling so it's pretty small. I think. Yeah, we want it to be pretty small so we can get a nice little kind of pebbly kind of quality in there. Just like some color noise, something that allows it to have some nice variation in there. So it's not just flat. And then, let me see. I kind of want to punch up the take this. Pop that there. We're going to change it to multiply. It's going to darken that area a lot. But then we're going to add. We'll use the curvature map again. I think that's what it is. So I can get these high points, these high and low points in there. This is not what I want. Then we'll just bring back the keratin mask. Then we'll use it as a, this will be a multiply layer. Nope. Keep on hitting that little X there. Multiply. So that should be working. And then we want this inverted because I want the deep parts to be, well, actually, let me see. Is that working how I want it to work? No, I want it inverted. Right. What is this? That's not the right one. This is the one. This one needs to be inverted. Like that. And then we should actually add a little bit of a blur to this because it looks too pixelated. A bit of a blur. Something like that. And then go to the base color. Something like that. That's probably too strong. That should also have affected the rest of the keratin. I was focusing on the beak, but it should actually adjust the rest of it too. Yeah. The toenails. Okay. Save this. I haven't saved in a while. It's probably a good idea. Okay, so it looks like there's some issue with the stream. Let's see what time that started. Yeah, it says there's an issue with the stream. Let me know, guys, if you're able to see the stream. I opened Task Manager right there just really quick because I want to get rid of this pen thing. Yeah, let me know if you're seeing any issues. I'm not quite sure what I can do to solve that. Because, I mean, the only thing I can think of is... One second. The stream's being weird, then I might need to stop because I don't want it to be like stuttery or anything. The only thing I can think of right now would be like resetting my router. And that would just completely tank the whole thing anyway, so I am not sure. I'll keep going as best as I can. I hope it's not screwing up unbearably. dang it. Okay. I'm just I'm adding that little addition to the nostril area. I'm including it on this mask because I want them to be the same color, and that color won't change in the color customization either. So that's what I'm including there. Okay. Save again. Okay, it went back to excellent. I don't know why the stream quality went down for some reason. It could be something to do with they said they were going to have some maintenance on the internet around my area. I feel like if that happened, they would just shut it down though for like a few hours. They usually don't do that in the middle of the day or like in the evening either. So I don't know what happened, but I hope it doesn't happen again. I'm actually thinking of running. So I'm on a wireless connection. So far, it's been really good. Like, I've had no issues with it. But lately, and that's been for like several years at this point. Like I've been able to do my work. I've been able to talk to my friends. I've been able to game. All that stuff. But lately, it's been acting really weird. So I'm considering just having somebody install an Ethernet cable that going directly into my office. It'll be kind of expensive, but I hope it's worth it. Oh, I'm being a total... That is not where I want to be painting that color. Take that off. Okay. I think that's okay. I mean, there's some stuff that I would like to probably, if I'm being nitpicky, that I can adjust. So I'll probably adjust that later, but I do want to kind of figure out some idea for the female colors. So maybe I'll save this as a different file. So it as a separate file, and then play around with some ideas. I want to reuse as much as I can. I think I don't want to like create a whole like secondary color pattern. I will get rid of the blue because I think that's probably predominant. It's going to be a dimorphic color, sexually dimorphic color. So I'm going to keep that off. And I want to see what happens if I start kind of playing around with turning on and off some of these colors. I want to try to go for probably something more tannish, like, yeah. Maybe something not as drastic as this, like just tan and brown. Maybe this with maybe some kind of spot, subtle spots. Because that's basically just 3 colors. Let me see. What would happen if I did something like we'll kind of mimic the male like patterning, like have these sort of, they kind of feel like flame shapes to me. Vaguely. It could be a little bit more rounded maybe for the female. I think some sort of pattern in this area still feels appropriate, but just not as like eye-catching as the male would be with the blue little centers. Probably. Could maybe do something a little bit more smudged. Play around with. See what I can get, kind of random shapes happening with the smudge tool here. Possibly. I'm still using smudge. Let me take this stroke opacity down. Possibly something like this. I don't actually know. I'll have to check. I don't know if we are necessarily required to use every single color in the color space. Because I don't know, I feel like some textures are just not necessary. Feels like I'm gonna be splitting values up into separate colors when it's not really needed. Just to like split them up, just to split them up, which I don't really see the point in. But I guess if that's required, I can do it. So I could do something like that for like a female skin color. Feels like it's missing a little bit of something though on the side panels here. Or the side panels, like the rib cage here. I don't know why I said that. If I add this darker color here, maybe that feels a little bit too elaborate. Could have just a nice like speckling here with this black. Or what could we do? We could take some of this color here. Actually put it on top of this. But then we use one of the masks from up here. Maybe the spotted mask. This one. I don't know why there's a square right there. Did I accidentally tap it? I don't know. That looks like some sort of artifact. Is there something wrong with the mask? I have to figure that out. But something like that could be interesting. I don't think we want it near the face. Tone it down, like make it lighter like this. Because what I'm trying to do is make it feel different, but it still needs to look like the same species. So I don't want to like go crazy with it. Start making it feel too distinct. I mean, some animals do get pretty distinct when it comes to their patterns. If there's a difference between male and female, they do get pretty crazy, but I don't know if that's necessarily what we should go for in like visual communication, like for a game. I don't know. Because I think if you had them side by side, I feel like you would want them to be easily identified as like a pair. Like, oh, that skin is the female version of that skin, like pretty easily, instead of like having to decipher like what female skin actually corresponds to what skin normally. If that makes sense. Something like that, maybe. That looks kind of cool. It's an idea. The other idea would just be to maybe like have this darker color, this black, just be speckled in there. Because it adds a little bit of punch, but not as much as the male's contrastiness does, which is kind of that could be a possibility. Or I could use something like this, but then just kind of cut down on the variation. I do want it to be like overall simpler, but still like still interesting. That inversion feels nice. We could also, just to get like maybe like a little bit more contrast, we could try this. Do something like that. Thinking. Probably run a few of these ideas past Islander and see what he thinks about it. Maybe there's a solution there, or maybe there's like a different idea that he has for this. That looks pretty cool. It's a little too strong though. What if I multiply this? I have to modify this a little bit more though, so that way it's, well actually let's see. That could work as an option. I need to be like, I need to be keeping track of this. I haven't been snapping screenshots or anything. Just ideas. Take that one. This one was normal, and then we had this on. I think this was full, or was it lighter? And then we also had that on. Okay, so that's another one. That one. And then, did we have another one? Let's see. We had this idea. That's kind of cool. A little bit too eye-catchy though, I think. Once like you have a pattern established, it's kind of fun to go back and play around with other options like this. It makes it really easy. What haven't I tried? I don't think the blue is going to work. It's too... I'll save the blue for the male. That's also cool. Even something kind of simple like this, I think it would need some variation though. Like, if you just took everything and kind of lowered the intensity of it, would that help? This might be an option. I'll just save it just in case. Could look cool. Turn those back on for now. Well, I don't really need them. We'll just keep just for my own sanity, I'll keep this like in Something like this, so that way I know that we were playing around with the female coloration ideas. What if I turn this to... screen? Don't know about that one. Even something as simple as that could work. I don't know if I captured that one. You could use a little bit of like sprucing up just because it's lacking some of the structure that we imparted into the other stuff. But it could work. Take those into account. I could turn, okay, so what if we do this, turn this back on, but then instead of being blue, it's this tan, that. Maybe they could be smaller. Probably take down the contrast. If I take down the contrast though, it like starts to reveal the underlying layer, which ruins the... But something like this could work too. Like the spots. I kind of like, this probably wouldn't work for the female, but I like how it looks with just two tones like this. Very kind of zebra-y. My computer is like heating up my room and it's making me kind of sleepy. I need to turn my air conditioner on. I think it would be too noisy for stream though. Okay. That's the RGB. I think that's probably as far as I can get tonight. It's mostly, I think we mostly got the male color pattern done. We have at least 3 or 4 ideas for the female, which is good. Yeah, I think next week I'll probably finish up, maybe like refine the female just a little bit. Hopefully by then we have a decision on what that will look like. And then I can move forward with that. Yeah, otherwise, thanks everyone who came out to check this stream out. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good night, and I'll be back next week. Hope to see you there. Thanks, everybody. Bye.